jumping jacks. Got my taxes jumping, now my bag coming with that major money. Dripping blessings, just might buy a house for my mama. Bad credit, don't even sweat it, cause they'll repair it, ain't no question. They can do it, it's amazing.
What's up, everybody? You are officially listening to $1 Million Life Lessons. I'm your co-host, Prince Donnell, and also the founder of Jumping Jack Tax. And I'm here with my right-hand man, the man with the cam,
Ron Vann Dam.
And we are back with another episode of the Man Cave series. By the way, a series that has created a lot of popularity over these past few months, speaking to the men about different topics on manhood, finances, sex, relationships, marriage, a one-off, whatever it is that you're doing. We're going to talk about that. We're going to be assisting you through that process through real life examples that we talk about. We do not talk about things that we have not gone through, and this is to help you. So y'all know my rule, one rule only. Tell your lady to get out the car, tell her to leave the room. You're about to go into a sacred place to learn about yourself as a man. And women, if you want to listen to this too, that's entirely up to you. Hey, I ain't got nothing to do with it. But we're back. It's been 45 days almost since we've dropped our last $1 Million Life Lessons episode, Van the Man Cave series. It's been about 45 days.
That's so wild.
We gotta bring everybody up to speed as to why it's been about 45 days. Number one, I just have not been in the mood to shoot content. I've actually been in a state of mind where I want to enjoy real life. So it's crazy because I've been shooting content for the past 6 years. Probably since 2014, and garnered millions of views, created thousands of videos across the internet, and we've constantly evolved from there, which I don't do this for the views, I don't do this for the likes or the comments, I do this just to impact one person's life. But from there, obviously with my life evolving, with the company evolving, I just wanted to really get connected into real life, and it was a beautiful thing. But now I'm back. The end of the year has completed. The new year is coming around, and I'm like, yo, I'm re-energized. And sometimes you need that. You know, I took a hiatus off of social media for 3 months, then took another 1 month hiatus again, and then it just kept flowing. I'm like, all right, you know what? I got to get back now.
Yeah, but it hasn't just been real life. You have been doing a lot of stuff when it comes to JJT.
I have, which I still can't talk about as of yet because we're like 95% of the way there before I drop everything, which is a part of the reason why I haven't been on social media active lately. But we'll get to that place. And then the other reason is because my man Van over here, he'll tell you his story. He had a run-in with the with the enemy, COVID.
Yeah, so about during our last podcast, so we dropped that November 5th, and that weekend I contracted the viral disease, COVID. Yeah, so actually me and my daughter. So and we both had opposite symptoms. She was A-okay walking around the house, you know what I mean, chilling, you know what I mean, having fun. And I'm sitting there coughing, chest hurting, can't taste, can't smell, can't do nothing like that. So I would just advise, please still protect yourself, even though, like, you know, they say it's a high chance that people catch it and they're gonna be all right. But that 5% is still like what I think there's still like over 200,000 deaths. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that one death, something that really shocked me. Carl Anthony Towns, I forgot who he plays for. He still plays for the Timberwolves. Yeah, he lost like 6 people in his family from his mom. Directly, you know what I mean?
I remember.
6 people in his family because of COVID. So some people, you know what I mean, their genes can actually handle it. Some people genes can't. So it's give or take. I'm still dealing with the after effects of having COVID because there's stuff that comes after that, you know, just for your body still trying to readjust, getting back healthy. But yeah, just protect yourself. So, you know, we were on a hiatus because of COVID, but now we're back. We're protecting yourself. Don actually had this whole procedure he had done. The office looks amazing to, you know, keep everybody safe in the office. So if you are around people, I will kind of taking the same steps in order, which kind of brings us into our topic is actually having order. Having order in your life. Correct. And it starts like I said, something small like this, like just the office, just to make sure everybody's safe and healthy.
100%. And So let's get into it. But please, definitely make sure y'all are protecting yourselves. It is our responsibility with having a platform as such, where so many listeners, to really, stress this to you. COVID is not an imaginary thing. This is real. People die, regardless of if it's 1% of people, 99% of people bounce out of it. But the 1% of people could be your mom, could be your grandmom, your grandpa. You mean? So don't play around like it's a game. But yeah, we are sitting in the office. We revamped it and everything from here. But before I get into the topic, I do want to say one other thing. Please make sure that if you love the podcast, I only ask one thing. We only ask one thing of you. Number one is to please screenshot this and post it to your Insta story, your Facebook stories, Snapchat, Twitter, all those platforms. We're fully organic and we're fully independent. Van, if I'm not mistaken, we have not had one guest on the podcast as of yet, which most podcasts have guests, and that's how they drive a lot of traffic through to podcasts. We're keeping it very organic. It's just us. We're independent, and we're trying to provide massive amounts of values here. Not to say we won't have guests in the future, but we're independent, which means at this point, I want the podcast to grow organically. No advertisement, no big names coming on. I only want you listening to this. If you enjoy it, if you find value in it, all I ask you to do, screenshot it, post it to your Insta story, post it to your Facebook. Let people know $1 Million Life Lessons is one of the best podcasts for y'all to tap into. The next thing I want you to do is, if you really, really, really love it, I want you to go and leave a review, 5-star, and share what you love about the podcast. That helps us be able to know what we could do better, and it helps us to know that we're actually doing, great work. Everybody wants to feel like, we're doing great work. So that's all that I ask of you. And now, while you're on your drive to work, while you're at the gym right now, or simply sitting in your house, let's tap in and drive into what we're going to talk about today. So the topic for today is going to be on order, right? That big mystery word is order. I think it's something that a lot of, as men, order is something that a lot of us struggle with, because many times our life could be all over the place. We going from that place to that place to that place. Sometimes we think hustling, when we're hustling and we're doing all of these different things, our life could be really out of order, and we think we're doing a lot, but we're really doing nothing. You ever heard of the term that you could get nowhere really fast? Yeah. That's what happens when you don't have order. You're so busy, but doing nothing. And when you have order and you have structure in your life, and like my man Jesse Itzler said, when you turn that discipline into a lifestyle, everything changes for you. My entire life changed when I added order into it. Since I was 21 years old and made a decision, it changed. And I'm going to break down what order is to you all, because I created this entire formula in my head on what it means to me. But we're going to be talking about order today. And when we're in order applies to a number of different things. It applies to your finances. It applies to your finances, your sexual life, your career, whatever it is you're doing. You need to have a system in place. If you have a system and you follow it daily, you'll win. And that's what we're going into today, Van. We're going to talk about some order.
So yeah, we can actually start, because you actually, when we were talking about it earlier, you broke it down into an acronym. So
absolutely,
it would help people to understand it.
Absolutely. So what is to me, what is order? Order is one routine daily earns rewards. One routine daily earns rewards. That's what order is to me. I feel like, and I'm speaking for myself, when I learned to zone in on one thing, when I learned to zone in on one routine and focus myself on that routine and say to myself, I'm not doing anything else today until my routine is complete. And I do this for the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years or more. And I do not drift away from it no matter what distractions come into my life. Then I start earning massive rewards. One routine daily earns rewards. And it's challenging right now because we have social media that's pulling us in so many different places, because everybody got something going on, right? Which is a beautiful thing. but it can pull us in different places because we start doing one thing and then we're like, oh my God, I need to do this because that's the next cool thing. The grass is greener on the other side mentality. But those who win follow one routine daily, and that one routine daily earns massive rewards. O.R.D.E.R. One routine daily earns rewards.
So how do you actually get into the process of creating a routine?
How do you get into the process of creating a routine? Well, what's interesting is when it was time for me to create my routine, and I highly suggest this for anybody, any man listening to this, my routine was created by my father-in-law, right? Originally, because when I started being mentored by him, I had to wake up every morning at 5 o'clock a.m. He kind of helped to tailor my routine in the beginning. So what I would encourage all men to do is if you have somebody that is a mentor, somebody who is achieving the things that you want to achieve later on in the future, the odds are they have a routine already in place in their life that's working for them. So by you adopting a piece of their routine, then you're already doing what the 1% is doing, right? He's the 1%. So if I just follow just a piece of what he's doing in his routine, then I'm already following in his footsteps. And then over time, of course, I can tailor down my routine, right? So I really got that from him. And one of the biggest things in my routine right now that I feel like has earned me massive rewards is waking up at 5 o'clock a.m. every single morning. For the past 5 to 6 years, I've woke up at 5 o'clock a.m. on the dot, and sometimes earlier, 4 o'clock a.m., and that's earned massive rewards. Now, for some people, you might say to yourself, well, Don, I work late at night, so I sleep throughout the morning. Again, worry about what routine works for you. But by waking up at 5 o'clock a.m. every morning, I was able to capitalize on my day. And that's the biggest piece of my routine. Early morning, 5 o'clock a.m., I'm up. I'm already on my laptop. I'm already answering emails. At this point, I'm already innovating and thinking of the next thing that I'm going to do that's going to totally re-innovate my life and re-innovate the company, re-innovate my family. That gives me the time to be able to think, because they say that every successful person does a lot of thinking because the thoughts are what turn into those actions. And at 5 o'clock a.m., that's what I'm doing. I have not skipped away from that routine yet. Haven't skipped away yet. And that's the first thing that I'll say. And then I really just want to run through my entire routine, right? So
for the day.
So when I say one routine daily earns rewards, let me break down what my routine is. And then if you want to adopt that as well, you can do that. First and foremost, 5 o'clock a.m. every single morning, I'm up, wide awake. Let me actually start. I'm going to start back. I actually set my schedule for the night before. So every night before I go to sleep, I go to my calendar and I already write in everything that I'm going to be doing for the day, the following day, right? I even put in there 5 o'clock a.m. wake up, social media ads at 6 a.m., which I'll get into in a second. But I already map out my day the night before I head to sleep. Because when I get up at 5 o'clock a.m. the next morning, I don't want to be trying to figure out my day at that point. I already want to have it figured out the night before. So then I have more than enough hours to attack it when I wake up. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to attack from behind. You always want to attack while you're ahead. So I'm already doing my schedule the night prior. And then I wake up every morning at 5 a.m. I've been doing that for 5-6 years, 5 o'clock a.m. Why? Because I feel like waking up in the morning gives you such an advantage over everybody. Such an advantage. Again, it gives you the ability of being able to think. So I'm up at 5 a.m. We have a morning meeting every single morning at 5 a.m. And what do we do? What do we do in that meeting? We talk about what happened yesterday, what we're doing today, talking about how we're going to be innovating. Because I'll tell you another thing. It's nothing like having a group of people around you that you can bounce ideas off of and being a part of a group of people, a community, so that y'all could come up with a great plan. And that's one of the reasons why we've been able to advance to the place that we are today, because of it. Having a good team, having common interests and goals and the same energy, 5 o'clock a.m. And then right after 5 at 6 o'clock a.m. on the dot, I'm already checking reports and I'm checking social media ads. I run a lot of ads on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google, all these different platforms. And from there, I'm checking ads. I'm checking ROAs. I'm checking reports for Jumping Jack Tax. What happened then? How many appointments did we book? How many customers came in? What can we do differently? I'm already innovating and doing that at 6 o'clock a.m. Now, this is before I even get to the office. And by the way, before I actually get to my 5 o'clock a.m. meeting, I'm already showered. That's important because after I'm done checking my reports and doing my ads and different things, I don't want to have to get in the shower after that and then waste another hour in between to finally leave. It could mess up my flow. It messes up my momentum because I got to stop what I'm doing, right? So I already want to be dressed before the morning meeting. And by the way, if you don't have people around you right now who you can have a morning meeting with, I say this all the time, have a morning meeting with yourself. It starts with you. And if you got a family, have a morning meeting with your family. This is the perfect time right now. I'm going to tell you, before I keep going, I got to say this. Family is the biggest way for you to be able to build wealth. It's the biggest way for you to create financial freedom. And when I say wealth, I don't say wealth as far as money. I say wealth in all areas. Financial freedom. It starts with family. Some of the biggest companies in the world are owned by family. And right now, when you look at a lot of times with the black community, there's a dysfunction within our families right now, but we cannot use that as an excuse anymore. Somebody, and if you're listening to this, you need to step up and say, hey, every morning, the entire family or whoever are the select few that have the mindset and are on the same energy as me, let's have a meeting every morning. Let's put this into our routine. Let's talk about our day. Let's talk about what we did yesterday. Let's talk about how we're going to be productive today. Let's talk about some financial topics. Let's educate each other. Y'all, if y'all do that every morning for the next 4 or 5 years, you know how better off your family would be. You know how different that would be? Ridiculous. I'm telling you, it would completely change your entire family's life. I promise you if you try it. And if you don't have a family right now, I promise you, do it with yourself because you need to start the routine first. And from starting that, then other people will follow and gradually come into your life that are going to be a part of it. So I shower before the meeting, 5 o'clock a.m. morning meeting, 6 o'clock a.m. I'm heading and I'm doing ads. I'm doing social media, checking my reports with Jumping Jack Tax, going into innovation. By 7 o'clock a.m., I'm already out the door at this point. I'm gone because I'm already dressed. Remember, you see why you got to be dressed because you got to, right after I'm done doing what I'm doing, I got to be out the door at that point. I'm gone. After I get out of the door, I'm already here. I'm at the office or wherever I need to be for the day. And I'm already starting to set up for us to have our morning meeting with the team. And then for me to also, again, I'm innovating. The biggest thing I want y'all to take out of my routine is that I create a lot of time for thinking. Because if you spend a whole lot of time doing, you can never spend any time innovating. And that's the reason why a lot of people are stuck because they're doing and not thinking and innovating. I got to spend that time doing that. So from there, I get to the office or I get to wherever I'm at and I'm able to sit down and be able to clear my mind. It's nothing like being able to clear myself before I actually got to hop into the next meeting. I hate having to rush into a place, having to take all my stuff off. Hey guys, sorry, I'm late. It's funny. I hate it. It is discombobulated and I like to feel patient. I like patience. So I get here at 8. I go ahead and do what I need to do. Okay, I'm ready. Let me answer some emails if I have them. Let me try to get a few more tasks off my list since I got from 8 to 9. 9 o'clock a.m. morning meeting with the team. We have a morning meeting with the team. We go ahead. We talk about what our tasks are for the day, what we need to do. How can we help achieve with Jumping Jack Tax? How can we help our licensees have success? What can we do to get more customers in? What are all the tasks that we need to get off of our list before December 31st of this year, right? We have that with the team. Then right around 9:30, 9:45, everybody is done. We all go what we need to do. Now, normally around 10 o'clock a.m., I'll probably end up going back in the office and now I'm working. One of the biggest things that my wife taught me was try to have all of your meetings before 12 o'clock, especially if you are doing this full time as an entrepreneur, try to schedule all your meetings before 12. So if anybody needs to speak to you, if you need to have meetings with your team, if you need to talk to somebody, before 12. That's a really big part of my schedule. So I'm normally packed up between 9 o'clock a.m. to 12, which gives me 3 hours now to talk to whoever I need to talk to. And then once 12 o'clock comes, I am officially unavailable at that point. And why am I officially unavailable at 12? The reason being is because, again, you could be super tied up and talking to everybody. And again, not spending any time reinvesting that back into yourself, into thinking about how you can innovate. So by 12, I'm unavailable. I don't talk to anybody on the outside, only the team that's in here. And from that 12 to 6 o'clock p.m. period, that gives me 6 hours of massive effectiveness. I'm not being distracted by anything at that point. Don't call me. I barely even answer my phone unless it's important. 12 to 6, I'm massively effective. And that's how I'm able to get so much done between that time. So yes, I do say I work about 18, sometimes 16 to 18 hours per day. But here's the thing. It's only a small portion of that where it's actually physical work. And a lot of that other work is actually thought work, which is still very exhausting at the same time, innovation work. And right around 6 o'clock p.m., that's when I start to begin to wind down at that point. And then I go ahead later on that evening and I start to make sure that I'm okay, let's pack up. Normally the team likes to head home wherever we decide to do at that point. And then when I get home later on in that evening, of course, from there, I'm winding down and I'm doing exactly what I'm doing again, figuring out what my schedule is going to be for that day. And then also connecting with my family, connecting with my wife, because that's very important, and making sure that we're set, we're good, and winding down, because you still need time to wind down and make sure that, you do something cool that can get your mind off of everything after you're done doing what you got to do. I follow that exact routine daily. It shifts from time to time, but majority of the same pieces that I just spoke about, that's one routine daily that I follow. And the only other thing that I do add into my criteria, which I can't right now because Philadelphia is on shutdown, I normally go to the gym after work. And I go there directly after work because here's the thing, if I get home and then I sit on my couch, you know how you like, yo, I'm going to the gym or I'm going to run. As soon as you get home, sit on that couch, it's done. So I already realized I can't do that. So after I get off of work, I go directly to the gym and I go get my workout and I get home. I feel great, had an effective day. But here's the thing. If you allow anybody to divert you just a minute or 30 minutes away, or you try to say, I could try to shift things around, you're going to mess up. That's what I was going to ask you. What challenges have you actually ran into when it comes to following a single routine? Like if it's like self-resistance or any outside elements? One of the biggest issues that I ran into was allowing outside forces to distract me away from my routine and me believing that those outside forces were more important than the routine. The routine to me is like it is the foundation of my life. Without me following this routine, I'm discombobulated. I'm going to tell you how serious this is. I follow the same routine so crazy, right? Here's how deep my routine is. My routine is so deep that if I sit my wallet in the same place every single day, I sit my keys in the exact same place every day. I sit my mask in the exact place every day. So here's how deep it is. If any of those things are moved from where I put it at every single day, I know somebody touched it. And that's how deep and in tune you need to be with your routine, that you have this feeling that I do this every day. And if I don't do that, something happened or some outside force caused some sort of distraction or discombobulation in my life. And I need to remove that. I need to fix it. And now I have to limit those outside forces. I got to limit those. I'll tell you a crazy story, right? I think I told this story before on previous podcasts. I was working where was I working at the time? I was working at TD Bank. This is how, as a man, this is how not following a routine and how outside distractions can really destroy you, how it can really mess you up. I was working at TD Bank, just got the job too. I probably was a couple months in. Now TD Bank opens up at around 7 o'clock a.m. in the morning. And I normally had to be there at 7, which means that I had to get there by 6. I didn't have a car at the time, so I actually had to walk to the train station. I had to get on the train. It took about 30 minutes to get down there. So I normally had to leave the house by about 5 to be able to walk to the station, get on the train, get down there, walk to TD. I'm there by 6, so we could open up at 7. So if I'm leaving out the house by 5, I actually got to be up a little earlier than that. So I know all this, right? I got a routine set up. I usually put my clothes out the night before. I'm ready to go because I know I got to wake up early. And by the way, around that time when I was working, I didn't like waking up early in the morning. That's a struggle for most people, right? Me included. And I remember I'm sitting at my apartment by myself because I was living in an apartment on my own at the time, sitting at my apartment. And I remember it was this girl that I was talking to at the time. And she had sent me a text and was like, yo, what you doing? I said, yo, I'm at home. I got work in the morning, you know, whatever situation. We busting it up, talking and everything like that. And then she was like, I want to come over. And I'm like, all right, well, if that's what you want to do, you could drive over. Although I didn't think that was responsible to begin with because I knew I had to wake up in the morning. You could drive over. She's like, damn, I don't have a car. So, you know, the conversation started to evolve. And when that conversation evolved, I knew what it was hitting for at that point in time. And I'm like, damn, I got a decision to make. And by the way, she was all the way in Delaware at the time, too. I'm like an hour away from Delaware. So I'm like, okay, I'm sitting here. It's like close to maybe 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock p.m. I know that I need to be asleep. But she talking reckless on the other side of the line. And I'm like, damn, you know what? Do I miss out on this opportunity? Do I follow my routine? Or do I take my crazy mind and my temptation? Is that going to drive me about 45 minutes or an hour all the way to Delaware to go get her and come all the way back, right? So for some reason, I ended up in Delaware. I didn't have a whip at the time, so I ended up using my man whip, right? I ended up grabbing my man whip at the time, and I ended up driving all the way out to Delaware, and I was like 45 minutes out, went to go pick her up, brought her all the way back. Of course, things happen the way that they happen, but here's the thing. I didn't end up going to sleep until like 1 o'clock a.m. in the morning, right? Because after the drive up, after the drive back, and then, you know, situation, it's like 1 o'clock a.m. in the morning at the time. I got to be up at 4. Which I already knew this already. I had a routine established, but I allowed outside forces and temptation to be able to stop me from doing that. So next thing you know, I wake up around about 6. Alarm finally go off. You ever been asleep before? You know that joint, right? Like, yo, you wake up, you're like, oh snap, because you know it's that situation when the sun hits your face, when you know that you're supposed to wake up when it's dark out. So if the sun is out, you know you messed up. You know what I'm saying? So the sun hit my face and I wake up and I'm like, oh snap, I messed up. And by the way, my manager at the time, she wasn't with it. She was not with it at all. You late, she got a huge problem with you, irresponsibility. So it's 6 a.m. and I'm like, damn, I had to call her and I had to say, yo, I'm going to be late for work. And by the way, it's already 6. So I'm calling massively late. I woke up late and etc. And I'm already new there at the time. And yo, I was almost about to get fired. I was almost about to get fired from my job. Now, think about this for a second. I'm going to just keep it real. When I actually sit back and I think about this at a later point in time, is me not following my routine. Me not following my routine and me going to pick a chick up all the way in Delaware when I knew I wasn't supposed to be out there and I didn't even have a whip. So now I had to grab my man whip, inconvenience him. Me going to pick the shorty up all the way out to Delaware, messing up my whole routine, doing whatever we was doing. Was that worth me losing my job and throwing away my bag? Was that worth my career? And I'm gonna be honest, I really got to stop here for a second because it's a lot of men that's listening to this right now, and they know they probably laughing because they probably did the same thing. We real. I'm just keeping it honest with y'all. I did it. We real. But I'm gonna be real with all men here. Think about this for a second. Is you allowing outside distractions, allowing? Hold on. I'm gonna start back again. Let's characterize where we at right now as a man. I'm going to characterize where we are as a man. You're a man right now. You either don't have a job or you do have a job, but you're not where you want to be at in life right now. You're not where you want to be financially. You're not happy with your career. You're not growing. You're not learning. You're not around the right people. You don't feel your best personally, right? Overall, your best in all areas of your life. So you're not in a good position in life. I've been there. as a man, not being in that good position in life, do you think that it's smart to allow outside forces like women and temptation and sex and all of that? Do you think that that's more important than you following the routine that's necessary, following the routine that the 1% do, educating yourself? Do you think that outside temptation is more important than what's actually going to make you happy? Than what's actually going to advance your life? And at the time, that I was in the wrong thinking. I was about to lose my job because of that. Because of temptation, I was about to lose my job, lose my bag. And guess what? Everybody would have been laughing at me. I would have been the laughing stock. I would have been the one that would have had to leave my apartment because I can't pay my rent no more because of temptation. One small piece of temptation, bro. One small piece can literally, one misdirection from your routine could literally destroy you. Just one, only one. And you could be paying for it for the rest of your life. It's possible. It's possible. So for all men listening to this, man, like, please follow a routine. Have order in your life. One route daily earns rewards. Follow that. Don't allow any outside forces. Don't allow any women. Don't allow anything. If you're not where you currently are at in life right now, don't allow none of that stuff to stop you. And here's what I mean by that. When I talk about order and one routine daily earns rewards, listen, if you have not completed the task that you needed to complete for the day, if your homie texts you saying, yo, let's hit the club and let's go ahead and let's grab a couple of drinks, let's go out, let's have a good time. If you didn't complete all the tasks that you needed to complete for the day, one routine daily earns rewards. If you didn't complete that, text your homie back and tell him, nah, I can't make it. Because you can't. You have no business being out there if you haven't completed your own inner business. What are you doing with outer business when you haven't done your inner business? Tell your homie, no. If shorty texts you talking about something, hey, I want to come over. No, if you haven't gotten to the bag yet, if you're not where you want to be at in life right now, I have no idea why you're doing that. No idea. Because not only are you allowing the outside force to do that, but also now you're releasing a lot of energy that you could have transformed back into your life, right? We talk about sexual transmutation all the time if y'all listen to $1 Million Life Lessons podcast. So you're also giving your energy to a woman when you're not even going to be able to multiply your bag right now, which you're not doing. You're not multiplying your life. So none of that is worth it, bro. One routine daily earns rewards. Follow it. And until that routine is complete for the day and you can stamp it and look yourself in the mirror and say, I've exhausted myself for the day, then you have nothing else to do. And watch this. Most times when you've exhausted yourself out for the day and followed that one routine and really stretch yourself to the capacity, the odds are you normally don't even have time for extracurriculars right now. You just don't. Like right now, I don't have time for extracurriculars. I like to here and there, but I don't have time because I'm stretching myself to capacity. I don't got time to be thinking about this and that or trying to, I don't have the time. And that's the place where you have to be at right now as a man. Because I'm going to be honest, there's going to come a time where, you got to lead a family, right? You got to lead a family. And when leading that family, if you don't put everybody on a routine daily as a family, then guess what? We're only going to be following a cycle from the past. We're only going to be following previous cycles. That's going to continue to get us nowhere real quick. We have to. I'm sorry that was a long response. I just was talking.
No, that's cool. So today, I'm going to play the devil's advocate for a little bit right here. So today, we kind of live in a microwave society. People want instant gratification. So something that you do now, you've been doing it for almost 6 years, you didn't see your gratification or even a little bit until like, 4? You know what I mean? And then also the society is brainwashed by, pop culture, mentors, people that we actually, society actually looks up to or, are getting put on the forefront by, corporations. So in that situation, getting that girl or going to the club, that's what we see. That's what we see as successful, at least people younger than us. So how do you explain following that routine and not receiving that instant gratification instead of being a microwave? That routine is kind of your grandma cooking in the oven instead. So what is the difference between that delayed or deferred gratification compared to the instant gratification?
So that's great, and I actually have that I actually have that here. I actually wrote the definition down of delayed gratification. So here's what it is. Delayed gratification is a process where a man resists the temptation of an immediate reward in preference for a later reward. I'll say that one more time. Delayed gratification is a process where a man resists the temptation of an immediate award in preference for a later reward. What do I mean by that? When we talk about losing weight, I'm going to just give a few examples and we're going to go into this. Immediate reward for a bigger reward in the future. It's like the difference between short term and long term, right? Yeah. It's kind of like if you make the decision that you want to lose weight, you can do one or two things. You can decide to take all of these. You could take the pills that they be advertising online, that if you take this pill, you lose weight in 30 days, which is the short term effect, which I don't know if it works or not. But that's the short-term effect. Or you could take the long-term advantage, which is completely change your entire health as a man and say, yo, I'm throwing all the chips away. I'm throwing all the sodas away. I'm throwing all the beer away, all the alcohol, and I'm going to eat healthy. I mean, bananas, ginger, apples, oranges, my greens, my vegetables, my berries. I'm going all in. I'm changing my entire health around because that's going to be a long-term advantage for me. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to run about a mile a day. I'm creating habits. I'm creating a routine that's long-term. Taking a pill to lose weight is not a routine. It's not a long-term advantage. It's not sustainable, right? So when we talk about losing weight, also when we talk about staying away from drugs, right? It's not one of them type things where I'm going to give myself 30 days. No, if I decide I'm going to stay away from drugs, it's going to be that's a long-term advantage to stay away from drugs. I'm staying away from it. I don't do it. I have not, and this is just me personally. I have not taken any drugs in years. The last time that I smoked weed was probably a couple years ago. Now, again, a lot of people say, yeah, there's advantages to marijuana. I'm not here to talk about that conversation right now. I'm just saying personally for me, I feel at my very best self right now because I'm completely drug free and I'm completely alcohol free. That is a long-term advantage for me right now. Long-term. Short-term, yes, I could probably feel great if I took a couple shots and I laid back and I'm cool. Yeah, it's a great feeling. It's a vibe. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's a vibe. But at the same time, there's short-term advantages that lead to long-term issues that you're going to have, or you can just start building out the long-term foundation right now, right? So when we talk about drugs, gambling, right? Reducing your gambling, long-term investing in savings, building a business. These are all long-term things. All long-term things that take time, that have delayed gratification to it, something that you're not going to be able to see for a long period of time. It's the difference between building a straw house and building a house that requires brick. You probably can build a straw house quickly and you could get you can have a roof over your head and you good for right now. But what happens when the wind comes? What happens when the storm happens? And at that point, that's when you realize that it probably would have been better to build your brick house. And I think right now, the issue that I see with us as millennials is that we have access to the internet. And this has happened to me on a few occasions. And this is why I have to delay. I have to remove myself from the internet just a little bit. And I got to be mindful of the things that I post is because as millennials right now, we live in a time where we have access to everything. We have access to what everybody's doing on the internet, every hustle, every business, every opportunity, every single course, right? We all have it. And it's great that right now we live in a time where everybody's starting businesses, right? It's a great thing. Everybody's offering information. But here's the thing. That can also, for a man who does not have order, following one routine daily, that's going to earn rewards. For a man who doesn't have order, what's going to happen is he's going to get online. He's going to see the dude that just has success, let's say in the stock market, and he's going to be like, all right, cool. You know what? I'm going to be trading stocks for a living. And then next thing you know, he's going to see the dude who says, yo, insurance is the next big thing. And then he's going to be like, you know what? They said that selling insurances is more profitable than actually trading stocks. I'm about to actually sell insurance for a living now. And then you're going to see somebody like me that's like, yo, but start a tax business because it's a long-term thing. And then you're going to be like, you know what? Don said it's better, so I'm going to start a tax business now. Then you're going to see the next dude that's going to say, hey, you need to learn how to run ads because you can start an e-commerce store. And then you're going to say, no, you know what? I'm going to start an e-commerce store. Here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with diversifying yourself, but you need to be able to major in one thing and minor in the rest. The issue with us as millennials now is that since we have so much access, and since everybody is selling something and selling a story as the next best thing, now you have to make a decision as a millennial on what you're going to choose and what you're going to stick with. Every single one of those lanes that I just talked about, there are successful people in each of those lanes. I follow them on the internet. But guess what? There's a one common theme that each of us have in these lanes. We've been following the same routine daily. The people who are giving you the information followed that routine daily. They did not distract themselves from anything else. They followed that routine for years before they decided to start diversifying into other areas. But they are the best at what they do. And as a millennial right now, as somebody who's interested in getting into entrepreneurship, the thing is, if you don't draw the line and say to yourself, I'm going to choose this one thing to focus on for the next 10 years, and this is all I'm doing, I'm going to educate myself, I'm going to learn, I'm going to build my book of business, I'm going to learn everything about this industry. And after I'm done building this, after I get my foundation from doing this, then I'll start to minor in other areas. And maybe if I do decide, for example, I want to start a tax business and I'm going all the way in on that. Now, after a few years of me building my foundation out, then at that point I can minor and say, oh, you know what? Now I want to dabble in the stock market. Now I want to dabble in insurance. Now I want to dabble in e-commerce. But you have a foundation established. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's the issue right now for us. You as millennials, we have so much access. Around the time of my mom and my grandmom, they didn't have that much access, right? It was like the things that were the things that were made available to them at the time. That was all that they had. They didn't know what somebody in California was doing, right? They didn't know what anybody in North Carolina they only knew what was going on in their community. And there were only certain tools and skill sets there, right, that were available for them to learn. And they had to choose between that skill set. And that's why you had people in our communities who were plumbers, and they were plumbers for 30 years.
True.
Right? Plumbers for 30 years. Why? Because they followed that one skill. And guess what? Everybody in the community knew who they were. They knew him. He was there. Oh, I'm called Joe. He's the plumber in the neighborhood. And Joe made a great living. But as of right now, we can't do that as millennials. And the issue is because we are trying to dabble and our head is going like this, and this. And we're not doing what Joe did, which is I'm going to focus on this one main thing. I'm going to become the best at it. And then I'm going to have outside side businesses or side hustles or side things from there. And that's one of the things that I'm really focused on as of right now. I am fully focused on delayed gratification. That's my main advantage. That's why right now you don't see me. And again, this is not a shot at anybody for that matter. This is just my personal opinion. You don't see me no more posting pictures of anything that's going to show people that this was some type of quick thing to like, oh, I'm gonna post a picture in front of this. I'm gonna post a picture in front of my huge crib, and then I'm gonna say, hey guys, if you just do this, you can earn this. It don't work that way. And by me putting that out there, I'm convincing people that that's possible. And since everybody is so fertile online right now, you can easily just post a picture in front of your house if you got one, or even if it's not your crib for that matter. And then you can say, hey guys, look, I got this crib here. If you just do this, you're going to be able to earn this. And then the people who are fertile and don't understand delayed gratification and how much time that you may have put into this, they're going to go off of face value. And then when it doesn't work for them, they're going to be like, why didn't it work for me? It's because they didn't understand and learn the foundation.
What are you delaying right now for a long-term gratification?
Well, jumping jack tax, the tax business is a long-term delayed gratification. That's delayed gratification. I'm probably not going to see the fruits of jumping jack tax for another 10, 15, 20 years, especially with the direction that we're going right now. I'm not going to see it for 20 years, but here's the thing. I'm trying to build the next McDonald's. I'm trying to build the next biggest tax company. And I'm trying to build that company that people talk about on the stock market and say, yo, I want to get shares in that company because it's so well managed. They have a great team. They're innovating. That's the company that I foresee building, that type of company. And those companies that we go crazy about all over the internet about, that we want to buy shares in, that's the type of company that I want to build. I want to build that type of company, right? That takes time to build. That could take 10, 15, 20 years. It took Amazon. It was a picture of Jeff Bezos in 1994 behind his you saw the picture, a little board behind him with his desk and everything right there. 1994. That was 26 years before 2020 came, and now everybody like, yo, Jeff Bezos is a genius. He's not a genius. He understood delayed gratification. The question is, here's how deep this is. I was born in 1994. And Jeff Bezos is just now seeing the fruits of his labor at my age, but as much time as I've been living on this earth. You know how deep that is? And I ask myself this, and I want to ask everybody who's listening to this. Here's the thing. If God told you right now that you'll be able to get everything that you want, the vision that you have for your life, I'm going to give it to you, but you're going to have to live your life one time over again in order to receive it, would you do it? So basically an example of that is if I'm 26 right now, I'm not going to start seeing the fruits of my labor until I'm 52, 26 more years in this life. If I live 26 more years, I've lived my life over again. That makes sense, right? Yeah. People don't look at it that way, which means that I actually have another life to live right now. If I start today to change my life. If God said you have to live one more life, 26 more years, and when you're 52, you'll get everything you ever wanted in life, most people will say, no, that's too long. I can't do it. And the reason being is because I see other people seeing success. I see other people having success. I see other people got the nice cars, the house. I see other people doing their thing. And you see the mirrors and you see the mirage and all of that stuff going on right now. Everything is so connected. And you're like, yo, you'll initially say yes, but you'll start to doubt yourself. You'll start to fall further away simply because you're comparing yourself to other people. You want exactly what they have, not knowing what they did or where they got it from. And you're going to be, from you doing that at that point, it's going to stop you, although you know what your end goal is. So the thing is, as of right now, and I want all men listening to this to understand, I'm focused on the process. I'm not focused on the sell. And that's the reason why when right now, I don't like when it comes to social media, my goal is not to create a video that gets 10 million views. My goal is to just create a piece of content that I love and that I know is going to change one person's life because I'm focused on the process. When building the tax company, I'm focused on the process. I'm not focused on the sale. I'm not focused on being able to show everybody, oh, but this is my success. I'm focused on the process. Because something that Eric Thomas said is that a true hunter hunts. A true hunter enjoys the hunt. They don't enjoy the kill. They enjoy the hunt, right? They don't enjoy the eating process. That's why when a lion, and crazy, Eric Thomas said this, when a lion, after a lion is done eating, a lion could be hunting again just for sport. I do this for sport. Just for sport. I wake up at 5 o'clock a.m. every morning for sport. I come here, sit at the office all day for sport. And the reason why I don't check my clock is because it's a sport. It's what you love. When you see LeBron James right now doing what he does, and he could retire right now, he doesn't do this because he still has something else to prove. LeBron still does this because of the sport.
Tom Brady still slinging that football.
It's the sport.
43.
You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying right now? They to them, it's the sport. They want to be the greatest, and they understand that it's a process to do that. So they do this for sport. And you can't stop somebody that does it for sport. You can stop somebody who just wants that next thing. They just want that next sale. You can stop somebody from doing that because the thing is, you ever met somebody who signed a contract, like even when the NBA and NFL, they signed that contract, and next thing you know, they never the same after that. They don't play the same. Why? Because they were doing it for the contract. They were doing it to get paid. And now that they got paid, they don't operate the same no more because they got exactly what they wanted. But somebody that's truly deep into this thing, it don't matter how much you pay them. It don't matter what the situation. It don't matter how many rings they get. They are interested in the process. They're interested in the sport. And when you're interested in that, you can't stop somebody like that. You can't. It's just impossible. And I'm just encouraging, man, if for the men listening to this right now, please listen to me. Don't do this for the next instant gratification. If you're trying to create content on social media, don't do this for the likes. Don't do this for the comments. Don't do this because you're trying to get famous. Who cares? Don't start the business just because, I want fight. None of that matters. You got to be able to do this for the sport. And when you do it for the sport, you're going to educate yourself and you're going to take this so serious at this point. And that's how you become the best. That's how you become the best. And that's the long-term advantage that I'm focused on as of right now. So I don't care about time. Time doesn't exist to me anymore. It doesn't exist. I don't care. And that's the type of time that we need to be on. If you want to tap into greatness. Now, again, some people, they don't care. They do want short-term successes, and that's fine, but it has its disadvantages as well. And you'll pay for it, and you'll always pay for it. Just know that. You always pay for it. You get a loan today, you pay interest later. Or you pay it in full today, never have to pay interest later. It's that simple. You understand that simple concept, right? And I'll say that again. The difference between short-term gratification and delayed gratification is this. Short-term, you can get a loan to be able to purchase what you want, although you don't have the money, but you have to pay interest later on, and then you're going to be paying for that for the next 5 years or more. Long-term is I buy it, I wait, I'm disciplined, I buy it in cash, which I'm going to have no money after I buy it in cash because I probably spent my whole savings to buy this, but I don't have any loans later. I don't have any interest later. I don't have any extra payments later. That's the difference between short-term gratification and long-term delayed gratification. But either way, one of those options, if you do short-term, you're going to have to pay for it later.
You broke that all the way down. That all the way down.
I have to.
So we is coming up on the end of our episode of $1 Million Life Lessons, the Man Cave series. And just to recap, this whole podcast that Don just broke down was about order. One routine daily earns rewards. You want to close it out, Don?
Yeah. I'm sorry, y'all, because it's one more thing, man. I got to say this. It's another thing as well. Because I was just actually talking to my wife about this yesterday, is that right now, one of the things that really interests me is how a lot of times you could be in this space right now where you know for a fact that the people around you are not good, that you're not learning anything, you're stagnant, you're stuck in the same space that you currently are, but you're not willing to sacrifice enough. And this is all order again. This is all about order, especially when you know that there are people, the 1% of people who have order, who have the skill set that you want, everything that you need, right? And you know what you're currently doing right now is not working, and you're not willing to sacrifice everything to be around those people that are going to take you to the place of where you need to be. Let me break this down of what I mean by sacrifice, right? Let's break down what sacrifice is. Let's break down what order is. When I was 21 years old, I was working at Wells Fargo. I had a good salary. I had health insurance, had a 401k. I was good in my career. I was making moves. I was good with the manager. I probably was going to be, honestly, if I wouldn't be where I was today, if I didn't run into paths with my wife and my father-in-law, I probably would be working at the bank, and I probably would be a manager right now, or probably I would either be a manager, or my career path would have been a financial advisor, because that was my initial goal to become, right? But here's the thing. Run across my wife, and she says to me, by the way, we weren't married at the time or anything. I told this story before. Run across her, and she says, hey, I want you to actually come work with me. Come work for me, right? You'll be able to be around me. You'll be able to be around my father-in-law. And I looked, and I said, they're doing something that I've never seen before. Not this close, especially black people, right? I've never seen this before. Not this up close and personal. And they're inviting me into their space to be able to learn. And all I got to do is serve. And I had a decision to make at that point. The decision was, do I leave the job where I know I have security and safety, 401k, life insurance, health insurance, all that, and a career path that's pretty guaranteed? Do I take the guaranteed route, or do I do the thing that I think is the right thing to do, which is to sacrifice all of that and to learn from people that are doing something that I've never seen before, that's going to change the entire trajectory of my life and my family's life, and anybody who's connected to me at that point. And then you want to know what I did? I left Wells Fargo the very next day. As soon as she offered it to me, it was a no-brainer for me. And literally, I said, I don't care what it is that I got to do. If I come into y'all space, and by the way, when she told me to come work for her, she said that she couldn't even really pay me like that. She said she couldn't pay me like that at the time. I can't really pay you. Things are still, we're growing, but it's a lot of uncertainty. Now, most people probably be like, that's crazy. I can't really do that. I made the decision and said, I don't really care. I'm not really worried about the pay or anything as of right now. I wanted to go into that space so that I could learn from these people, so that I could learn, so that I could serve. I said, I don't care if I sweep floors. I was doing customer service. I was answering emails. I was answering phones, emails, doing whatever it was that was necessary. They told me to do. They told me to sweep the floor. I swept the floor. They told me to answer emails. I answered emails. They told me to go out and go grab something to eat. I go grab something to eat. I do whatever I do. Whatever my father-in-law told me to do, I did it. Simple. No questions asked, right? Because I was around people who had more information than me, and it was invaluable. So when you see where I'm at 5-6 years later, with jumping jack tax and moving from there, that was because of the service that I gave to other people. For the service I gave to other people without any indication of what the outcome was going to be. I did not care about the outcome. I cared about the process, which is why I decided to leave and work there. Now you see where I'm at today. The issue is right now, I believe, is that with a lot of us millennials, we are afraid to do that. We're afraid to serve somebody else. We're afraid to say, hey, let me tell you, if there was an opportunity for me to sit around a table with people who had more than me, do you know what I would do? And I would still do it today, even with the place that I am today. If I would be like, listen, I don't care if I got to fly to LA if you live out there. Because we know that the five closest, you are the five closest people, the five people closest to you. You're a product of that, right? So if we understand that, we know that rule. Let me tell you, I don't care if I saw these dudes that was living in LA and they were growing their company, or they just had this group of people and I wanted to be a part of it, but I know I didn't have much to offer. I know I have one thing to offer. Let me come to LA. Listen, I'll take care of my flight to get out there. All I need is a bed to sleep in. That's all that I need. All that I want to do is serve you guys. I want to sweep floors. I want to mop. I want to go grab your food. I want to get your coffee, whatever you guys need me to do. But I want to be around to soak up the knowledge in the game and provide as much information, as much help as I can while y'all are building. Y'all don't even got to pay me. Y'all don't have to pay me. Why? Because I'm going to put it all on the line, because it's a process. And I understand that the process is going to give me a long-term advantage. It's going to yield me, it's going to earn me rewards. The order is going to earn me the rewards. But a lot of times people are not willing to put that on the line. A lot of times people always have their hand out. Although somebody else is in a position of leverage, it can do more for you, you still got your hand out for them. And that's the reason why you can't get around those group of people. Why they don't want you around them is because they don't want another person around them who just has their hand out saying, hey, what can you do for me? No, the question is, what can you do for them? Because it's a long-term advantage for you. How can you serve them? And as a man, don't have too much ego thinking that you can't serve people, whether it be man or woman. Because it can be both. And any of them can change your life. But you have to be in that mindset of saying, I will do anything. I will serve whatever you need me to do. And I promise you're going to get around those right groups of people. And I promise from that point on, your life is going to change. I promise it will, because it's just long term. And short term, it might not look the best because you might be living on this small bed. You might not be doing what you want to do. But again, that's a short term thinking. Long term is, my life is going to change. And I would do it. I would do it today. I would have done it yesterday, and I did it 5 years ago. And I just encourage you, all men, man, listen, if there's an opportunity in front of you and you've never been around it before, take it and serve. Don't ask for anything in return. Don't care about the outcome. Worry about the process. And I promise you, everything is going to change for you. It will. And that's the last thing that I say, man. Y'all got to do that. But anyway, we got to get out of here. I was a little over what I said, but the process of order and one routine daily earns rewards is a really big process for me, man. And I just encourage y'all to really follow that, because it's going to change your life. I promise you it is. And delayed gratification is going to change your life. With that being said, we out of here. We dropping. Again, I want y'all to make sure if you appreciate this episode, Share it on social media. Share it on Insta Stories. Share it on Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, all those different platforms, man. Put your homie on. Put your friends on. Leave a review, please. That's all I ask you to do, man. And let's get this thing rolling. It's Prince Donnell, co-host of $1 Million Life Lessons, the Man Cave series. And I'm here with my right-hand man with the cam.
Ron Vann Dam.
And we out of here. We will see y'all again next time.
Peace.
Got my taxes jumping, now my bag coming with that major money, dripping blessings. That might buy a house for my mama, bad credit. Don't even sweat it, cause they'll repair it, ain't no question. They can do it.